Warm welcome to you, Davida. Hey,
Thank
you
you.
know those yellow tinted glasses you're talking about? I see myself in them. Too
Oh, well,
funny.
let me take them off.
No way.
Yeah, that's probably better. Yeah, we don't want that kind of interference, do we? It's very
Well, I don't
distracting.
see your eyes, Davida. I don't know what you're hiding or
Yeah,
feeling
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. I don't want to tell you the truth, that's for sure.
Oh, Davida, we're gonna get the secrets out this
You think
time.
so? Okay.
Oh, well, I do try. But I have to say, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for spending time again with me. It's always, honestly, I looked at my clinic list and then at the end I said, Davida Monk Zoom. And anyway, so I'm hurrying um, through my clinic just to be here with you. I really mean that. It's kind of
Oh,
fun, because when you're in medicine and you're talking about pain, what can we do? What's top on your mind today? Then, we're talking heavy stuff. Although I have to say today was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. I think my patients, they're wonderful.
oh,
They're
that's
wonderful.
great.
Yeah, I
That's
can see at least three of them, and I wish them happy Mother's Day, but they're grandmas and they're strong women. And they're working, even they're like 79. I'm volunteering here, I'm doing at the
the
schoolyard over there, and they're planting gardens and keeping the deer out. I mean, I couldn't believe what they're doing. And ultimately, all of them were happy, you know? Dr. Manek, the spring is here and the summer's on its way. I was achy last week, but it's not raining anymore. So
uh-huh.
there, yeah. But Davida, again, you are Professor Emeritus of the University of Calgary, dance department, should I say,
Yeah.
division, group, yeah. And that you are Les Groupes uh, awardee and have done choreography for Les Groupes Canada.
Mhm.
Yes. I get these things, my French isn't good, but I try to
That's okay.
practice.
That's okay. Yeah.
From last time, I was so impressed with your books. So the first thing I did was to get Ross Gay. Why did I get Ross Gay? Because you had a pile.
Book of Delights. Book of Delights.
It was the word delights. Okay.
Yeah.
It immediately made me think, oh, I gotta get this. While we were still talking, I was Amazon,
Making a
Kindle
note.
edition, Kindle edition. And so, can I share something? I was still reading
Please,
it.
please.
And I sort of dip into it. Okay, it's not from beginning to end. These are the kinds of books that you get delighted in. Okay, it's not to be read like a novel or some physics
Right.
book. For God forbid, that's what I read all day, physics. Or how about this one? The Noosphere by
Oh,
Vernadsky.
right. The
This is
Noosphere,
good.
I know exactly what that is. That
Oh,
is the yeah, that is the dawn of consciousness.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Sorry. I'm so excited because
it's a good word.
he was a Noor mind, Noor sphere. The human creation is the highest in the top-down universe, which is how we work. And so when I read Vernadsky, wow. Now, there are languages that need a little massaging because he wrote this in the early 1900s. But
Right.
I like it. So I read the biosphere and the noosphere, and I took it out again because look at me shouting at you. Oh my God. See how excited I get? So
Well, I'm
the
writing it all down. I'm writing it all down.
so the
Yep.
noosphere, which is the mind and its creation, humans don't take away from Earth. If we use our minds creatively, we're creating new information. And where does information hide in the whole universe? Right here on Earth. This is the special place in all of the cosmos where you have information hiding. Because if you look at Mars, if you look at the sun, if you look at Pluto, anywhere, it's icy or it's gaseous, but Earth has information. Earth is so special that way because humans are creating. And if we would just be allowed to create based on spiritual principles, my God. And this is why I think dance is very special, because not only do you bring the science of the human, the exquisite human mechanism, and this gift of movement and keeping it in orderly fashion, you're bringing the aesthetics of spiritual expression. So whenever I look at songs without words, that's what really comes top of mind to me. Oh, but Ross Gay, I just have to say something. Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna go over to this. He writes this essay number 43, and he says, I read this from a Thomas Jefferson quote inside the elevator doors in the embassy suites, which said the following: the sun has not caught me in bed in 50
I
years. I
know. I
repeat.
know. Yeah.
Uh-huh. You know that
Yeah. Well, yeah, I
one?
remember reading it and just guffawing, thinking, yeah, right. So
Well,
he had 600 people in his
that's
empire.
right. He said he
Yeah.
drank tea that somebody else made. He ate a crumpet that somebody else had. You know what, Davida? The one thing that I love about weekends is that I can just let the sun come in through the window. I'm still in bed,
Yeah.
like, don't even shine on me. Ah! Okay. So, but this was a quote. It just made me chuckle because even
Yeah.
Ross even writes some stupid shit, and he called it Jefferson's stupid shit,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So he says,
Yeah.
I don't ascribe to that, and I think I like Ross Gay even more. So,
Oh, yeah.
uh,
I
so,
like, yeah.
so we were talking about this science and spiritual nexus and how dance, in my view, is like a pinnacle. Do you remember? You would know the Life magazine cover of, was it the greatest athlete in the world is a dancer? Was it Barishnikov or
Could have
Nureyev?
been. Could have
Yeah,
been. Yeah.
yeah. It was
I
one of
don't
the two. It
remember.
was one of the Russian ballet dancers, and this
Nureyev, maybe, or
I think I can't remember. I
Baryshnikov.
wanted to look at it, this cover, because it's so iconic and it's arresting because when we think athletics, we think a runner or a sprinter. No,
Mm.
it was a dancer who
Uh-huh.
can who can control, who can have poetic expression, not just speed
Yeah.
and power, but some kind of elegance and spiritual expression. And which brings me to this energy that you were talking about. You had a Eamon circuit and the subtle energy discoveries, and you went into Qigong. Qi Gong.
Yeah.
Gong. Qi. So tell us about your explorations in Qigong.
Um, well, first of all, I was motivated to do it to heal. And it was recommended to me by two different people. And so I trusted that. And in the healing process, I think what I wanted to do was be open
Yeah.
uh, to the things that came my way,
Mhm.
and just to pay more attention. I have the great luxury of being able to concentrate on healing. I just turned my life over to that, and so I followed a YouTube Shaolin monk 15-minute um, qigong set for a few weeks.
Yes.
And then I started to look further until I could find something that had more. I was needing more instruction and more.
Hmm.
Why are we doing this? And what is at the bottom of this? And what are we looking for? And what are we listening to? What are we searching for? Those kind of things. And so I found a master who taught regular classes and
Hmm.
would communicate all of those things. Um,
Yes.
I could feel right away that because of dance being my métier, well, then it was very direct translation into the movement of Qigong. So I could feel
Yes.
right away that it was a home
Hmm.
for me. And then I became just a regular. It actually turned out that I studied more than just the regular class, but pursued courses and in manifestation and in what's called Buddha Palm, which is the heightening of the
Mm-hmm.
Lao Gong point
Yes.
and the
Yes.
ability to heal oneself
Mm-hmm.
um, and sense energy. I did studies in sound healing
Mm-hmm.
and in breath, and all of it integrated in such a way that I was able to really make use of the knowledge
Mm-hmm.
to apply to my illness. So
Yes. Yes.
that can't be measured, of course, but it can be felt. I mean,
Yes.
I felt it. Um, and I was doing other things too. There's another Qigong master who has developed something really, really useful.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an in-depth dietary protocol for every disease you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a book called Cure Heal, is it Cure Any Disease, I think, or Heal from Any Disease? And it's got to do with following, um, well, the secret is to break down certain foods to the point where you can access, where your body can physically access the phytochemicals.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so for cancer, one of the critical things is red things,
Yes.
so
Yes.
beets and tomatoes and you get
Berries and blue. Yes. Yes.
peppers, those
Mm-hmm.
kind of things. So he has devised a number, like hundreds of recipes, and it's all supported by research.
Mm-hmm.
And but of course very alternative. But that was another foray into Qigong because all of his work is guided by Qigong, and so the
Yes.
creation of those recipes is about that. And I still do that and really
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Um, but
Can
I
I
think,
ask? Yeah, go ahead.
well,
I will save my question, but go ahead. This is so interesting because you're right. The phytochemicals actually support your acupuncture meridian system.
there you
It's
go.
information, okay? Everything around us is information. It's not just energy, but energy that has, you might say, rearranged itself into a specific way that now your acupuncture system can assimilate it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was part of the healing protocol, but there were hours dedicated each day to Qigong, morning
Hmm.
and meditations, classes, and then these other offshoots that weren't just the regular class, but targeted to uh,
Yes.
say greater aspirations. Like God,
Yeah.
how far can I reach? What can I do? What can I experience? Uh,
Yes.
so.
Yes.
And I still find I still practice, of course, and it is one of those rich traditions that keeps opening. It keeps blooming. It keeps like the
Mhm.
flower just keeps blooming.
You
There's just
found a very impressive inside out healing, really.
yeah.
And I started Qigong. It was more Tai Chi, the five animal form in London. And I was so impressed. It was a five animal form by this Englishman who had gone to China to the Shaolin Temple. And I continued. Then I went to more foundational. Qigong is more foundational than Tai
Mhm,
Chi.
mhm.
And really what I bring in a very basic sense to my patients, because they may not have the resources or even the inclination to do this Tai Chi or Qigong, which is, as you said, it has levels and
Oh
beauty.
yeah,
If you really
yeah,
go
yeah.
there, you can be many lifetimes. But I do teach them bone marrow washing.
Right.
It has breath work, lifting
Hmm.
of the arms, and really intentionally washing the immune system.
Hmm.
And it has to be slow. Take your time. This is such a gift. that when you do this with intention, your bone marrow renews. This is
Mhm.
where the immune system is renewing. I'm getting goosebumps, by the way. So this is true that we can renew ourselves. In fact, our bodies are renewing all the
All the
time.
time. Yeah.
Yes, we have a new bio bodysuit in 6, 8 weeks or so. And you remind me of one thing. So bone marrow washing. If people are watching this, breathe in and then above your head, yes, your palms are together and your eyes are closed, and you're really washing the internal organs and deeply your bone marrow, and you're getting a whole new robust immune system and blood. So this is a very wonderful thing, and your teacher and your master will also, you can ask him because there are different styles. This is the
Sure.
simplest. And
Yeah.
then when I was in Rochester, Minnesota, and I actually invited the Qigong master to come out to Rochester to the Mayo Clinic, and he did weekend workshops. It was so much fun. There's only a few number of physicians who would take it, so we got very good instruction. And you're right, there is beauty here, and you need
Oh,
someone's keen eye. Just a
yeah.
little adjustment, you go, "Oh, whoa, 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 whoa." You feel the warmth, and he says reduce the blockage. But this is what happened to me. We're lying after quite a good practice, and it's quite lovely to rest because it does take focus and breathing and posture, and you're always checking in, checking in. But when I open my eyes, now I'm very short-sighted. I've astigmatic. If I do this, you're just a blob. And I remember going, oh my God, I can see. It was clear. I could read anything miles away. And the Qigong master just smiled. He says, oh, like a child excited. Now, over time, it went away. But the idea is I could do it. I
Mhm.
could do it. Now
Mhm.
it takes, as you said, you are disciplined, Davida, and you're going and
Mhm.
you're renewing
Yeah.
and you're flowering, right? And
Yeah.
Nisha goes back to rheumatology and forgets it all. But yeah, I could, and it was remarkable that just a few hours and I rest and I open my eyes, and for a good few days I didn't need glasses. I mean, I have to wear these things. I if I don't find them, I panic. Where's my glasses? Nisha, they're above your head. Oh, wow. Oh my God. This is really. So this is quite wonderful. And, I just want to say another thing, and I don't know if your master has said this. In Qigong in London, there were times when, I would, I mean, fly like the crane. And then the next time I'm doing everything correctly, and I'd be on like a worm. And I asked him, what is going on here? His name was Paul, an Englishman, and he had actually a very rare kind of arthritis. He told me later on, and I said, there is no way you have this arthritis. You're just too open and flexible. He says, I healed myself. He had ankylosing spondylitis. And he was determined that he was going to leave London because they all said, we can't do anything for you. You have to take aspirin and all those kinds of things. And he says, no, I'm not going to do that. He was 18, could barely walk. He went to China.
Wow.
I think there was a spirit in him because when you can't go into Shaolin temples just because you show up
Right.
at their door, and you have to be admitted. And so he later told me why I was feeling like a worm. He says, look, there are things that take energy from you. They're energy drainers.
Yes.
They're energy pumper uppers and energy drainer downers, and you need to know this. It's one thing to come to Qigong class, be very wonderfully, but protect yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? Who you encounter, how you encounter, be aware. And this even means foods. Davida, I can't tell you how many times I've eaten fruits and broccoli. I just happened to have this apple here. I wasn't planning to show it, but it was there. But I have eaten things out of a health food store and felt really crappy. Now I check the label and see what kind of preservative is on them because it makes me ill. And, as a vegetarian, I've now learned that not is all equal. I feel,
Yeah, yeah,
whoa, not
yeah.
feel so good. And so look after the subtle energies in your body. You can do all the breath work and all these wonderful things. But once you're fully charged and your batteries are full, take care of the battery now.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of the battery.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, yes. So this is a very good, thank you for allowing me to share some of these Qigong things that
No,
I've
I'm
come
fascinated.
across. Yeah. What kind of style of Qigong do you do? There's five major styles, families, you might say, lineages.
This master has trained throughout the East. One of his primary teachers was Mantak Chia
Yes, okay.
from
Mantak Chia's
Thailand.
books. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, but he, I think the style is his own
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that one of the things that he was passionate about was being able to communicate to North Americans
Mm-hmm.
um, and Europeans from where to be able to directly meet them where they are and then
Yes.
take them into flow. So he'll often tell us how in some of his classes in China, for example, it's just a standing posture. That's what you do. You do that for the whole class. He
Yes.
said he couldn't get people to be interested in doing that if that's what he taught in Los Angeles or where he's in Santa Cruz. If he taught that from Santa Cruz, people wouldn't come. So, and also if he doesn't give a kind of explanation, we tend to like to know, oh, this is the lung meridian. Okay, that goes from the chest to the thumb,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and oh, the palm has this special place, and it's called Lao
Yes.
Gong, and there are current, that we get that a little bit of that instruction even in his regular class, like not a
Mm-hmm.
special course, but a regular class will get that kind of information. And I think that that's part of his style too, is to be communicating to the Westerner
Mm-hmm.
in it on the level that they come to class in, and so that then he can move that person towards
Yes.
the flow state, um,
Yes.
but
Get
meet
them
them
in.
where.
I think it's a very good thing to do
Yeah,
to hook the student.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hook them,
Yeah,
and then they
show
will.
them what it is. But to do
Yes.
that, you have to be able to talk their language and
Mm-hmm.
appeal to their curiosity or whatever. You have to give them enough
Mm-hmm.
that they don't feel shut out.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. We're in an instant gratification society, and we feel like we have to sweat and do something to feel it's worthwhile for the time or the membership fee.
yes.
I mean, yeah. And yeah, the first class in Rochester, Minnesota by Master Lin was this. We sat there and he says, imagine you're in a pool of water and you're gently swaying. You're now in the ocean and the waves are really, and you have to have some something in your solar plexus hold you because you do start swaying and
Yeah,
you have to be very still,
yeah,
still quiet, no mute, nothing. It
yeah.
was quite lovely. It was restful, actually. And then my eye improved. That was like, wow, this thing works. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. What
So
is one? What is one qigong exercise that is quite succinct, lovely that you'd say, hey, do this if one comes to top of mind.
a very, very simple one.
Mhm.
Um, it might be, I don't know what others would call it, but it would be referred to in my training as between heaven and earth.
Yes.
So you would start, you'd be warmed up.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have energy between your hands
Mm-hmm.
and feel the chi ball. But you'd
Yes.
then rotate. You'd
Yes.
rotate that chi ball 3 times.
Mm.
And then the bottom palm will energize so that the top palm floats up. So you
Yes.
feel it moving away. Then you turn the palms, one to face the earth, one to face the heavens. You draw
Yes.
energy from both those places, bring the palm back down,
Mhm.
and then 3 times to spiral and repeat. And
Oh,
gorgeous. It's very simple. There are lots of wonderful ones, but that one I always get deep satisfaction instantly.
Mm-hmm. And so you bring to my mind a Qigong master. It was a conference at Vanderbilt University, and I had attended that conference by the five main lineages. They're patriarchs. There was no woman, but mostly patriarchs.
Yeah,
And these are in their ninth decade of life, but they have smooth skin, bright eyes. If you touch them, you know this is a strong. And he wouldn't say, touch me. And so you go, not this squishy old man. And he
yeah,
says, even if you do cloud moving hands, or as
yeah.
you said, heaven moving earth, that will get you there.
Mhm.
Do it with intention, with great love and gratitude.
Yeah.
This will get you, as you said, great satisfaction is a beautiful description of that, practice. So thank you.
Yeah, I think that you're right. There's this question of intention and gratitude. Yeah, if that is the sort of uh, the feeling with which we practice, then we get maximum benefit
Hmm.
from it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and they're active things.
Yes.
It's not just that you say it at the beginning of class and then
Hmm.
you actively remind yourself what
Hmm.
your intention is,
Yeah.
and you actively receive, right? You take energy in and are grateful for it, and that I think that kind of opens the channels, right? It makes us more porous, more
Yes.
receptive, and
Yes.
more giving. It's sort of the
Yes.
wall of the self kind of breaks down.
Yes, yes, we are porous, and
Uh-huh.
when we breathe, the whole body breathes, and the whole
Yes.
body, yes. My patients have said that when I teach them breath techniques, and if they really do it, they go, oh, Dr. Manek, my whole body breathes.
Yeah,
They'll
yeah,
do things like this, and it's wonderful because then they're healing themselves. Their
yeah.
parasympathetic nervous system is now engaged, the immune system is engaged. They don't need drugs. They're really discovering what is God installed in you,
Yeah, yeah.
And
And yeah, they'll never come to an end of that. The more you practice, the more you discover. Yeah.
yes, yes. And coming to Qigong and this dance, the way you flowered, what is one of the performances, Davida, that you say, oh man, that was it. The best memorable
One
dance.
of my performances.
Yes, yes.
Well,
All of them?
yeah. Well, context.
Hmm.
I learned early on in my dance dedication that when people compliment you on your performance, it's the wrong thing to come back and criticize your performance and say, well, actually, I wasn't, and I really didn't, and I didn't get that, but it's the wrong thing to do.
Yes, it is the wrong thing to do.
Absolutely, it's the wrong thing to do. But then you realize that, okay, so even if you don't say it to other people
Hmm.
who are complimenting you, you might be saying it to yourself anyway. And
Hmm.
that's also the wrong thing to do.
Ah,
So then it comes to the point where uh, can we actually celebrate the flaws? Can we actually embrace the imperfection? And I
mhm,
think that comes with the recognition that art is not in the perfection business at all.
mhm,
It's in something else. It's in beauty. And
mhm.
so and within that is all sorts of imperfection. So I
Yes.
think when I think of that your question, it just reminds me of the journey that the individual has to take,
Mhm.
uh, getting over themselves and the perfection, and
Yes.
and and starting to learn to give themselves away in the performance, to let themselves to lose themselves so that they can be what the performance is.
Wow.
And that is one of the best meditations on earth is
Yes.
to
Yeah.
perform because,
Dance as though no one is watching
well,
and sing as though
yeah,
no one is listening.
yeah.
Yes.
But and also, I think another thing that it brings up for me is the when a choreographer creates a work, or
Mm-hmm.
when a composer or a writer create work, there's a kind of rigor and dedication of a life there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when the performer takes on that piece of music or the dancer takes on that choreography, there's you're honor bound to respect the decisions that were made by the composer or the choreographer. So that there's a kind of giving yourself to that vision.
Ah, yes.
Right. They asked me to do the hand this way and pull it back really quickly, even though my instinct might be that way and hold it. But they want that. There must be a, so you give up your preferences. If you're dancing someone else's work, you give up
Yes.
preferences, and when you do that, you enlarge
Ah, this is
because
beautiful.
it's
Mm-hmm.
not about what you like.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes.
the work is never about what you like,
So it's
right?
really giving yourself to the whole absolute
That's right.
process.
That's right. And honoring the
Mm-hmm.
decisions that were made by the creator.
Mm-hmm.
So in my process, all the solos that I'm doing, for example, I have a little bit of that experience when I work with my rehearsal director, Helen Husak,
Mm-hmm.
who will draw things out, say that that's not developed enough, as you could go further there. And what about this? I question that. And so what she's doing is calling me to account
Mm-hmm.
as a creator and a performer,
Mm-hmm.
uh, how far have I gone in the investigation of the materials?
Yes. Sometimes, oh, and I'm drawing an example from running where people hit the zone. You go, oh,
Yeah.
I can't go another mile, and then suddenly there's this high, and you keep going, and there is this enlargement. You have gone beyond your perceptions. Do you have a moment like a click inside? You go, ah, okay, and you keep going, and there's something that really is almost animating the body and you're observing,
I think that that getting past yourself in performance and giving yourself to the work
Hmm.
is part and parcel of that very experience. Um,
Yes.
for me, they uh, if I my goal as a performer is to not be there.
Yeah, that is very beautifully put.
That's what it is.
Remove
And
yourself.
so
Yes. Hmm.
so there are no limitations in the sense that you're struggling unless the movement requires you to struggle, right?
Hmm.
So, but even then, there's a sense of effortlessness, no matter
Yes.
what it is, because the body knows it because you've practiced it,
Mhm.
um, and your attention is very much in the present. So and you're connected to sound and space, but you're in a way, it's odd to say, you're disembodied. Your
Hmm.
consciousness is disembodied. You are distant from the action,
Yes. You know,
and
and
that's what you're talking about. That's what
yes,
you're talking about.
yes. And I'm going to go right to this question because I was hoping to ask it later, but this is the right time because you said I dissolve myself. Spiritual practice. Do you have, yeah, you're smiling. Thank you for that because it's so personal, Um, but dance itself is spiritual, but do you have a practice? Can you speak to that?
Well, I think it's very, very simple.
Hmm.
It's I think gratitude is fundamental. For
Hmm.
example, uh, I pray at every meal.
Yes.
Um, and I've had people ask me, well, who are you praying to? Well, actually, what I'm doing when I do that is allowing myself to feel the blessing of what I've been given. Giving, you would know. So expressing gratitude is good for me. And
Yes.
so that's a simple spiritual practice. Uh, Qigong is a spiritual practice for me as well.
Yes. Yes. It is. It
Yeah,
is. It gets you closer to the subtle energies are a connection to universal source, the field of
absolutely,
consciousness.
absolutely. So, and with the study of the dantians, the lower
Mhm.
abdomen, then the middle dantian, which is the emotion, right? And then the mind, and then the spirit, and the connection, and our connection to earth. Uh, those are, I don't think I do Qigong without experiencing
Mhm.
those spiritual essentials.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's really what it is for me is the essentials. What are the timeless essential things about life
Mhm.
that if you what is the word? If you take the time to recognize them,
Mhm.
um, it doesn't really matter what your circumstance is. Uh, you have to see how you do see how fortunate you are to be alive.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
think that's where the gratitude comes from. And what is on the other side of that is that then intention. This is the theme of today, obviously,
Mhm.
gratitude. Intention is how can I take this energy, this awareness, this beauty that I've been given? How can I bring this into the world? How can
Yes.
I how can I move, give, touch in such a way that it's better, the world is better for my action. That's and that's a very simple, but I think it's a spiritual
It's
practice.
profound, you see. That's an honorable way of to live.
It
You've
it feels
become
right.
that. You've become that. And there was a short video I saw this morning about meditation. And most times and I was taught like this, sit upright, close your eyes and breathe. And that's takes you a long way. But now you're reaching into the source. You have to connect because we could
Yes.
be like this for years. And I've seen this, and there's, well, hello, I feel the same thing yet. Nisha's still overeating and she's still losing her glasses, but you're right. So, for me, that intention is, dear God, you are my witness now, this moment, and I have to say something. This was surprising to me. I was at a conference in Phoenix this weekend,
Oh,
and it was a behavioral science conference. Now, what is Nisha Manek rheumatology doing there? Well, I want to present intention as a variable in healing. And I'll tell
yeah.
you, my medical colleagues, it's drugs and drugs, and it's our
Oh, I
education.
know.
It's our education, really. It's how
Yeah.
we think. And fortunately for me, I've had the time to think and really. So I was at this conference to persuade and influence. So at the second day of the conference, beautiful speakers. Oh my God, David, it was fun. I wrote 5, 6 notebooks. I mean,
Ah, yeah.
I write big, but I was. And then the second day, nearly the end of the next, I'm saying, okay, what's Nisha about? What am I doing here? Okay, medical colleagues and blah, blah, blah. What is Nisha about? I don't practice this thing. This thing just came out. I'm here to represent God. I am
Oh,
here right now in this conference. I'm even banging my desk. I was shocked. I look at my
yeah.
notebook. I look at the speaker. I don't know. I had a moment. I represent God in this lifetime. God, you're here being represented by Nisha at this conference, and by golly. So, That's what we're saying. That is spiritual. You can be in a conference in a behavioral science in the middle of Phoenix desert and and just say, okay, tell me, what is this whole thing about?
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
just sit
Yeah.
quietly in the speaker and all these people, and you just get, oh, thank you. And I wrote it out and I felt okay, and I kept listening to him and made more notes, filled another
Yeah.
notebook. So it's like
You
that.
weren't presenting. You weren't
No,
sharing
no, no.
your,
I was in the audience because it's a brand new topic of influence, persuasion, ethical persuasion, not forceful. And this is a lot of behavioral science. And he's beautiful, this man. He did most of the research in Arizona State University. Robert Cialdini. Robert Cialdini, Cialdini. Cialdini. I've known of his work many years ago. This weekend was his 40th anniversary of publication of his book Influence. And I'd read
oh,
it, and it's just, Davida, it's wonderful. It can really
oh, I must read
change.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw the successes. It can be anything, personal, professionally. And for me, these principles is a gentle way. Just change a word, the order of things you say. How?
Yeah.
And you can
Yeah.
see people moving in your direction.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
force anything. You don't have to speak 10 million times. Just
Yeah. It's
take
the
care.
way it's an invitation.
Yes, but they will know. They will naturally, with this seven principles, reciprocity,
Right.
unity. There was social, social proof, authority, which I have. Okay, I have authority, and social proof. I need some more, but but the point is that the principles make beautiful sense because it's how we are. That's how we make decisions. And we are guided by those decisions to make the right one. That's the thing. It's like saying subtle energies is God's way of connecting you always. You got the healing mechanism now. Now you get some phytochemicals. You prepare them like this. It is red. You're going to be okay. We do bone marrow washing, right? We have these
All these
knowledge.
skills. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So Robert Cialdini brings, okay, you're in this cloud of chaos and you want to make this, just just do the principles that human beings make decisions. And if it's in the ethical and the circumstances are correct, they'll move in your direction.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And I was very enlivened. Usually out of a medical conference, I crawl out and I'm looking for coffee. Here I wanted, I've had more connections and fun and just seeing all kinds of people, lawyers and
Wow.
um yeah, coaches and dentists. I was the only
Right.
medical doctor. Thank God, sometimes I think
Yeah.
you have these sciencey biochemical people, anyway. Yeah, so that's where I was. But influence
It's
is definitely, in fact, I got a copy from my brother, who's a businessman, and I have given it out. Definitely a good read. Um, in your career and as a contemporary dance, and you sort of said all of this, but what would you change? What would you do differently? Or
um I don't know that I would change anything. I think something in me really wanted wanted to be a dancer. And
yes,
I missed earlier opportunities. So I didn't really start until my mid-20s, as I told you.
yes.
And then what happened was again a kind of flowering as a result of pursuing this thing that I found the ultimate challenge as well as the ultimate reward all at the same time. Um, uh, I found that the decisions I made increased that so that I was sort of being fed
Mm,
and led at the same time. So my desire was pointing me in the right direction, which was
Yes.
feeding my desire, which was pointing me in the right direction.
Yes.
So um, when I look back, we look back on our lives and the decisions we've made. Um, if I were to look back at the age of 50, I might have have a different answer for you. But now that I'm 70 and I look back, I think, oh no, I think this
You look
is
50 now, but okay.
no, but I think this is
Yeah.
that we have to trust. I think that to move from the heart and uh you use your intelligence too, let's face it. But for example, I think it's important to know if you are going to study something that you put yourself in the hands of somebody who you trust and who you know has the goods.
Yes.
How do,
Yes.
so how do you know that when
Mhm.
you're a beginner? Well, there's something in you that weighs that out and says, yeah, I think you can't be sure, right? But something in you says, I recognize the the value that this person has to give you. He can give it to you. You if you just work with him. So even though I was a beginner and had very little experience, I made choices that paid off that way, and those continued to pay off. And
Yes.
so, well, it was so well, in some ways you could say I was creating the life I wanted. In
Mhm.
other ways, I was accepting the life I was accepting it with pleasure. In other words, there were things that happened and directions I took that I questioned at the time or
Mhm.
shortly afterwards. But
Yes.
then I realized, oh no, that developed a strength. That made
Yes.
this connection.
Yes.
That, and so
You know, you
don't really know
you
how all of that is happening. It's a
mm,
kind of mystery, but there is an element of within you that an element that assesses something that I don't want to say judge because it's not really the right word, but you can assess a situation, a person, a direction, and your gut, that's the word, your gut says yes or no.
yeah. You know, you said it so beautifully, and one of my teachers has often said, the past doesn't push you. The past has no power, but your decision for your future pulls you into the future. That's what you're saying.
That's
You
right.
have decided a future
That's right.
and you're assessing it and
It's a
assessing
goal.
it.
You've
Oh,
given
yeah,
yourself a goal. Yeah.
yeah. And then
And
you're
the
pulled
body
into it.
organizes, the body, mind, spirit organizes
It
itself towards that
organizes it.
goal.
And
Yeah.
you pay attention to those things. Do they have the goods?
Yeah. Yeah. Can I
And
learn
by their
here?
fruits you shall know them, is Master Jesus, is by their fruits you shall know them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a while before the fruits become, you know, front and center. But this is the question I asked myself when I was leaving a very prestigious clinic. That is this physicist to be trusted or did he fudge his work?
Right.
Honestly, Davida, I did ask that. Did he
I
lie?
believe you. You have
Did
to
he
ask that.
lie? And I did not know, but one thing I did know is that when I would pick up his paper and I would read it, something happened in the heart. No, I mean it. I went, boop, 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 boop. What? Whoa, pay attention. My heart would beat rapidly for no reason at all, except I was reading this paper. I said, why do I feel so good? I want to go here. Okay, so there was this decision then. The
Yeah.
intention came in. I want to meet this man.
Mhm.
Then, of course, I met him and I was terrified because I thought, what do you say to Isaac Newton if you meet him? Hi? I mean, yeah. It was like that. Okay, I was terrified and very excited, but I knew I could be terribly wrong. Maybe
Yeah.
he's all, but the fruits were known. I got to know the fruits. My golly, he saved me. Actually, he was a good mentor, right? You need a good mentor.
Yeah.
Does he have the goods? And boy, did he ever. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think in a big sense, I love science more, and then I loved spirituality because he united the two, and that's why I
Yes.
think they're both necessary. for the human species to really thrive.
Yeah.
Need both. Can't just do science and science and science. That's why you are saying, I pray, I have gratitude, I
Yeah.
feel it, and it's simple, but it's profound. It's an honorable way to live your life, your day.
Mhm.
And it's wonderful. And, which brings me to this, when I said, oh, it was like meeting Newton. And I was really terrified on that evening when I can still picture it in Scottsdale. And my brother said, ah, oh, you'll be fine. Just take his book and I'll sign it. That'll be the end of that. I said, no, I want to. Anyway, okay, this is how I am. I'm very dramatic in my hotel room. Okay. Who's the most interesting person, Davida, that, you go, wow, that you'd ever met?
I've met a lot of really interesting people. Um, the person that comes to mind, I only met him, I only knew him for a short while,
Mm-hmm.
but I met him in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Mm-hmm.
He was, the circumstances of our meeting were around a dance company that was there. He was leaving the building and I was coming in. And the thing that made him interesting to me was that I recognized him, although I'd never met him before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so there was a profound curiosity in me about why, because that doesn't happen
Yeah.
often or,
Mm-hmm.
or at all. But there was, and so I engaged him and said, can we just go for a coffee? So we got together and talked, and he told me his life story.
Mm-hmm.
He had been diagnosed with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very successful businessman, and he closed down all his businesses and was going to Mexico for a last-ditch attempt at trying to
Yeah.
cure himself.
Yeah.
Um, Meanwhile, there was an intervention on the part of his mother and a friend who had prayed for him at a certain time when this man was walking on his land that he was about to let go. He was walking on
Yes.
his land,
Yes.
and his mother and friend, uh, they were moved to pray for him, and uh, it was a spontaneous healing.
Yes.
He felt through his body a, a kind of profound shiver,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and when he got to Mexico, there was no cancer.
Yes. Yes.
He came back
Mhm.
to Winnipeg, and instead of picking up where he left off, he moved right into charity, into giving to the arts, into setting up something called Culture Bridge, which was a way to bring Indigenous and white people together.
Mhm.
Um, and he said to me after knowing me for a few days, "What can I do? How can I help you with your dance?" Like,
Mhm.
he just became a conduit for good. And
Yes.
he was even a person who could talk to animals, um, and
Yes.
and to mice and to flies, for
Mhm.
example.
Mhm. Mhm.
He actually turned me on to a book that I think you would love.
Mhm.
I have it handy.
Oh,
Do you know this?
no. But look at the title, Kinship with All Life.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome.
because I was very curious about his
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
his gifts and his
Mhm.
experience. And
Mhm.
this was 30 years ago.
Mhm.
So maybe, yeah, about 30 years ago. Um, but he said, read this and you'll understand a little bit more. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. It's
Uh-huh.
just really lovely.
Thank
So,
you.
oh,
Yes.
you're welcome.
This is my kind of a book. You're right.
Oh, no, it's just so beautiful. So I think really, he was so unusual um,
Hmm.
in the experience that he had, in his willingness to share it, in his openness. And that's what I recognized. I recognized in him,
Hmm.
I don't, I can't really put words to it, Nisha, but it was I think I was drawn to the kind of selfless goodness that he had, that was authentic. It was
Yes,
profound,
yes.
really, really profound.
Can you imagine facing that mirror and you look at yourself and you're going to Mexico, and yet, prayer works. Prayer works, and and this he's a fly whisperer or
Yeah,
mouse whisperer, like a horse whisperer, You remind me of a sharing of Dr. Tiller, the physicist, whom people don't know, but he was giving a series of lectures in Los Angeles. I said, "Why don't you come and visit my family?" And so he was having lunch and in this big Manek compound, and it was clearing after lunch, and he was sitting with my uncle, and they were talking, and I could hear it because I was at the sink. And he said something about the fruit fly deva. I thought, what? So this is what happened. He did intention experiments.
yes,
And in his intention experiments, when he moved from water to change water with his intent, he moved to a living system, the fruit fly. But here's the thing. Tiller never wanted to harm a living thing. That
right.
was necessary for him. Can you
Yes,
imagine a physicist with that kind of a sensitivity to another system? So he said, I got permission. Listen to this. He got permission. I said, what do you mean permission? He said, Nisha, every animal, living thing on earth has as a guardian. They're devas. Deva is like a fairy.
yeah.
Okay, Deva, Deva, Deva.
Anyway, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Devas. So I said, Devas, what is this Deva fruit fly? He says, well, I got permission from the fruit fly Deva, that we take care of our brood, the fruit fly, but you are not going to harm them. So we give you permission to do your experiment. I remember sitting down at the lunch table, and my uncle doesn't understand a thing of what we just said. And I was shocked.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean a fruit fly Deva came to you? He says, no, I have vivid dreams, and I was given permission. And therefore I knew. And his fruit flies were happier, more productive, more robust fruit flies. I mean, he joked about this in his
Yeah,
lectures, but
yeah.
now I could see. He never talked about this. But in that lunch in my family home, he was sharing quite jovially and said, yeah, they're guardian beings for every living thing.
Yeah, I've
And
heard that.
so do you, and so do I. And
Yeah,
that was quite amazing.
yeah,
A physicist.
yeah.
And that is where you think the inner way. Now there is reverence for all life, including rock. He
Oh,
never
absolutely.
treated, he didn't treat anything badly. It was always make it about them.
Yeah,
Make it about them.
that's the highest way, isn't it? Yeah,
It sure is. There is no other way. A sub ek hai, which is a Hindi way of saying we're all one. We're part of this creation, and
right.
then we honor. So
Yeah,
there's no labels then. But yeah, he really taught me. So this is a beautiful kinship with all life. I'm going to get
yeah,
this book.
yeah.
Now we're at the top of the hour, and I know you have dinner planned.
Yes,
But what
yeah.
what did you, what's your fitness? And I said, what? How do you heal
Okay,
from injury? Yeah,
right.
really quickly.
Well, I have a trainer, so I'm in the gym regularly, and this is somebody I found because he was training someone else in a gym I was in, and I saw him walk, and I thought I need some of that. There was it was just really obvious to me the qualities that were in his body in a walk. If those were in a body that was going to dance, that's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's an excellent, just a very interesting individual. So that, and we do all sorts of things, resistance training mostly, and
Yes.
some boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I do, well, of course, the Qigong, but there's also something else I do called the mitzvah technique.
Oh.
And yeah, it's not very well known, but it was derived from the work of Moshe Feldenkrais.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I know Feldenkrais.
Right.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
just the slightest adjustment, and wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a
So
pity,
he,
people know Pilates more, but Feldenkrais, wow,
oh,
now this is finer. Yeah.
yeah, it is. So, and the mitzvah technique was developed by a dance person
Mm-hmm.
from their experience with Feldenkrais, and then it had quite a bit of influence in the national dance community in Canada, and there's
Mm-hmm.
still practitioners. But basically, it is a release technique
Yes,
um,
release.
that allows you to be really efficient and
Mm-hmm.
clearly grounded and expanded. It has a profound effect on the way your joints work, that they become like
Mm-hmm.
water. They
Yeah.
become open. So there's no resistance in the
Mm-hmm.
joint, and
Mm-hmm.
you can really feel, therefore, grounding and expanding become a conversation that's going on all the time in the body.
Wow.
So this kind of practice is excellent for recovery from repetitive work in a rehearsal, for example.
Yeah.
Excellent for the whole body,
Yeah.
and so I continue to do that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so those are the things I'm doing these days.
Mm-hmm.
And injury, I don't get injured very often.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, it's if something happens that you feel, oh, there's a restriction or there's a bit of pain or whatever, then
Mm-hmm.
it's an invitation to discover, how did that come about? How
Ah,
can,
this is
how
so
can I
beautiful.
well, and how can I heal it?
Yeah.
And how can I go to rehearsal tomorrow without damaging it further?
Yeah.
Because you can always answer those questions, right?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
expertise and a little bit
Yeah.
of creativity. And
Yeah.
so the injury, like an illness, can be welcomed.
Yes, there's a
You know, it's like,
deeper
okay, you're
insight and a
here.
correction. Yes.
That's right.
You
What are
know,
you here to tell me?
there was a dancer from Minneapolis who came to Rochester because she was so interested in this Qigong, and she was a Feldenkrais practitioner. Because when
Oh,
I
there you
saw
go.
her move, I went, you were right, there was efficiency. It's a
Yeah,
very good way to put it. And
yeah,
I asked her, what do you do? And she told me about Moshe Feldenkrais.
yeah, yeah.
And so
What's the
I'd
phone
read
price?
a
Yeah,
little bit into it, but and this is where physical therapy and especially arthritis, back pain, we could do so much more.
I know. Yeah,
We could do so much more. But I
so
know
true.
dinner is waiting. What's for supper today?
I knew you were going to ask me chili con carne
What was that?
and chili, a
Oh,
chili and
mhm.
salad and sourdough bread,
Do you make your
which
own
I,
sourdough?
yes.
You are my kind of a dancer, Davida.
We're
I
gonna have to
don't
get
buy
together for a
sourdough.
meal.
Huh?
Oh,
Oh, it's
well,
been a pleasure. It's been a real pleasure. I
yeah,
mean, there's 2 days that well, 2 hours. Look at the notes, okay? And books. I mean, kinship with all life. I'm gonna buy it right
that's a
now.
lovely one.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. It's the publisher. Before you go, oh, it's Harper San Francisco is the publisher. Um, you were interviewed by a woman by the name of Michelle Greenwell
Yes.
from the East Coast of
Yes.
Canada.
Yes.
Michelle Greenwell used to she runs a place there called Dance Debut, and
Yes.
she used to run Dance Debut in Cochrane,
Mm-hmm.
which,
Yes.
which is the town that I'm closest to.
Oh.
And
Gosh.
when I, in the 1990s, when I lived on with my equestrian coach and was riding a lot, I would go to Michelle Greenwell's dance debut studio and do my classes and practice and
Mhm.
prepare for what I had to do dance wise.
She is
So
such
there
a
you go.
generous person. She always writes to me on LinkedIn. Hi,
Okay.
Nisha, I like this post. She is one person from our business class that really kept in touch, if I can
Okay.
say. Because we were in
Okay.
this small business group, I told you persuasion, influence. I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
okay, how do I make information medicine much more, how can I reach more people, and how do I do this? So this is why. But
Yeah.
Michelle Greenwell was one of my classmates, and she even says, let's collaborate, we'll do partnership. JV partners is what they call joint venture partnership.
Okay.
Yeah, and she has a tea company.
Yes, I noticed
Yeah,
that. I
yeah,
noticed that.
she
Yeah.
has a
So
tea
I
company too.
haven't seen her since she left Cochrane. I have not been in touch with her, but um,
Oh, it's a
when I
small
saw her
world.
interviewing you, I thought, oh my goodness, there we go.
Ah, what coincidence. It's a small world,
Yeah,
Davida.
it is.
Well, thank you once more and enjoy your chili, sourdough
I will.
bread, and salad, and we'll stay in touch. Please, I'd like that very, very much. Again, thank you.
Okay. Thank you,
Oh,
Nisha.
bye for now.
Enjoy your evening. Yeah.
I will. I will.
Bye.
Bye.